Hello everybody, I hope we're doing okay, and this is not a normal video that I would normally publish, and to be honest with you, this video was never ever going to see the light of day, but I decided to put it up in the end, just because maybe if I speak openly about how I truly feel with everything that's going on in my life at this moment in time, I probably feel a little bit better about it. And maybe for those who are a little bit concerned with everything that's happened, with me, if you are concerned, which if you aren't, I'm not exactly going to be holding you accountable for that. But I know there are a few people, so I just figured I'd come on and just, well, address everything really and kind of explain what my situation is at the moment. Just for the record, I'm not obviously seeking any sympathy or anything like that, because that's not what this is about. This is more of a, to be honest with you, it's more of an awareness situation video to what OCD, EUPD, and ASD can really do to fuck your life up. At least it has for me, anyway. And I feel like if I bring a little bit more kind of like understanding to it, maybe not only I can be understood a little bit more on everything that's going through my head at this moment in time, but it also might bring a light to those who are also in the same situation as me, because I definitely know that I'm not the only one out there who has, well, got an avalanche of different mental health conditions. And yeah, I feel like the more light that's brought on it, the better it will be for everybody. To put in perspective, the last 15 or so months for me have been quite possibly the worst of my life, simply because obviously I was struggling with all sorts of different things going on in my head at the same time, with many things that are basically affecting my way of thinking, and obviously I had no answers at the time, and yeah, it was a very overwhelming kind of thing for me. This kind of started around the Transcendence tournament when this took place in 2024, which, if you guys were wondering, it's a Wipeout Amiga Collection tournament that was hosted by System Inspired. One of the best tournaments I've ever participated in, and also had the privilege of helping out somewhat. But yeah, enough on that. During that time, I was having a mental health crisis with many different things happening. Obviously, at this moment in time, or at that moment in time, sorry, I was obsessively compulsing over all sorts of different things. I was struggling a lot with depression and a lot of anxiety. I had basically, well, had ongoing care coordination, which has been going on for the best part of about, I don't even know how long now. It's been quite a while. And I've been going under mental health therapy and everything like that to try and get myself sorted. The reason why I went into a state of, well, into this state, was because of a situation that happened when I went to London. So I was going for a job at the Grosvenor Casino. There's a Grosvenor Casino in London called the Rialto, and I was going to become an electronic games host there. But this single decision that I made to go for a job there backfired pretty significantly, because obviously with someone of my nature, it was a huge jump into a job that I didn't know I was going to be able to do. It was going to be completely out of my routine, which, for those who kind of like live with the autistic spectrum, you would kind of like potentially understand where routines come in. When you have a routine that you stick with for a long period of time, you get so used to it, and when that routine gets interrupted somewhat, it can have a negative effect on how you kind of function, because it's out of your comfort zone. It's not exactly right. Obviously, I know there are many people who may be different to this and not exactly the same as me, but for me personally, and obviously, like I say, for anybody else who struggles similarly, yeah, this is the situation for me when I went for a job in London. And obviously what resulted is I fell ill on the first day, and I was out in an area I was near enough 40, 50 miles away from home, knowing that I was going to have to do this every single day, coming from a job where I used to be a, a learning support assistant in a institution. It's a huge difference, especially when I was like only working in my hometown, and then I was then traveling 50 miles a day just to go to work. Obviously, it was a massive change to my routine, in which then it didn't go very well. It gave me a severe panic attack, which then obviously resulted in me completely losing my mind, unable to control myself, to the point where I then realised that I'd pushed myself too far in the hopes that I was trying to impress my family. Trying to basically show, well, I was pushing too hard for not even my own means, which, yeah, it kind of worked against me, because then I then developed a major fear of travelling out far, and then I developed a major fear of illness and stuff like that, which then kind of slowly resembles into me becoming OCD. Obviously, just before I carry on with the OCD story, I was diagnosed with OCD alongside EUPD and PTSD on December 17th, 2024. Now, obviously, to a lot of people, obviously, just going for a job, getting a new job and stuff is exciting, and obviously, yeah, that is a great thing. But obviously, I pushed myself too far, to the point where I panicked myself in the process, thinking, shit, I didn't think about this. And yeah, it obviously triggered all these fears, and it has been, well, it's been a traumatic experience for me ever since. However, obviously, I have tried my best to recover from that, but it's not entirely perfect, but we're getting there at this moment in time, from the moment I upload this video. But as I just mentioned, this is obviously where it follows in with OCD, because obviously, as I mentioned just a second ago, obviously I then developed a new fear of illness and stuff like that, which obviously kind of resembles a fear of me going out traveling as well, because obviously if I fall ill, I'm obviously extremely worried about falling ill whenever I go out to places now. I don't eat anymore when I go out to places, thinking that, for example, the food could poison me or something like that, wherever restaurant I eat in. Those are just a few examples of kind of like thoughts that started racing through my mind for the past, like, what, fucking 2 years almost. And obviously this is where OCD then began to start kicking in, because then as my trauma got worse and worse, and memories and stuff got worse and worse, I became up against a lot of different compulsions and a lot of different emotions, which was throwing me all over the place, and it still throws me all over the place today, and probably quite possibly worse than what it was at the start. So obviously, after everything happened in London, obviously everything started getting worse with my OCD as time went along, to the point where I questioned my safety every single time. I spent a lot, and I mean a lot of time, pretty much isolated. Obviously, I was still doing things like, for example, trying to get out and about, trying to get in any form of social situation I possibly can. Obviously I didn't want to be like a couch potato whatsoever, so I still didn't feel confident at all doing anything. It was generally, like, especially during the year of 2023, it was miserable. I literally didn't feel like I could do anything. I was under constant, like, watch by the NHS, like, not suicide watch, don't get it mixed with suicide watch. But obviously I had care coordinators not coming after me, but assessing me all of the time. I had medications running through me all the time, therapy happening all the time, and even then I actually stopped my therapy sessions because, well, the reason being is because obviously they were quite a bit of distance from home, and obviously, yeah, it wasn't the nicest thing for me to drive all the time, especially knowing that I had a fear of travelling. And obviously I had no one there with me to help me out. It's kind of like, yeah, it was fucking difficult. But obviously, yeah, as my OCD worsened, It got to the point where when I'm having to fear for my own household of things like, for example, leaving the front door open, having taps running, or thinking taps are running, lights left on, etc. I mean, every single little tiny thing under the belt that you would need to check over and over again to make sure that it's safe, off, etc. Believe me, I now sit there for tens of minutes. I couldn't tell you how long each day, it varies, but like I say, quite a while each day. I sit there just staring or constantly like checking something to make sure it's all in order. And if it's not in order, it quite literally resembles what you're seeing on screens. You literally turn into a zombie because it's like your mind gets taken over and you can't fucking control it. Yeah, there's no other way to describe it. And obviously, as this is going on, this is obviously affecting my mental health because it was infuriating me. It was affecting my relationships because obviously I was arriving late for things. I was beginning to, well, not exactly be in the most charitable mood all the time. It kind of made me make impulsive decisions. It makes me not ready for anything. It really had a negative impact and still does continue to have a negative impact on my day-to-day living, to the point where obviously I am now completely limited capability for work and work-related activity. I'm living on medication pretty much permanently and actually undergoing a change at the moment. I'm constantly being watched by the care coordinators in the sense that I'm not going to self-harm myself, which, well, let's be honest, I'll be honest with you, it's happened too many times. I'll get into that a little bit though. But when all of this is happening, and the fact that I'm on my own, like, what? On average, and I'm not even joking, 20 hours a day, it makes me miserable. And I'll tell you what, I fucking hate it. And, yeah, unfortunately, that position hasn't changed at all in the slightest ever since, well, the inauguration of my OCD happening, really. Obviously, I still tried to get involved with social situations and stuff. And in December, no, sorry, when was it? It was actually November in 2023. I did actually meet someone online. I met somebody under the name Honey, who was a girlfriend of mine for a little while. And she had ASD as well and other mental health problems, which, considering our chaotic nature, it looked like it was going to be, well, a complete turnaround for me from that point onwards. Which, because obviously we were both happy, we were both having a laugh, you know, just being chaotic, because that's all I want to be. I like being chaotic, I like being an idiot. It's great fun. And obviously, if people know me online, the way I act and stuff like that, and the way I play about, it's just in my nature, it's just part of my humour. And obviously, whether people like me for it or not, it's just me as a person. And you know what, I'm not going to change myself for anybody, because that's just who I am. I just like faffing about. And obviously, if I need to be serious in things, I obviously am serious, because obviously we all have a side where we need to play like a little bit more serious than a bit more playful, but that's besides the point. It did look like it was going to be, well, a complete turnaround for me, and things were looking up and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, I had all these mental health conditions at the moment, obviously suffering with OCD. Obviously, I didn't know about EUPD at this time. So obviously this is like 12 months before I even got diagnosed. But yeah, alas, it was all looking well. And then next thing you know, at the very start of the new year, that was that. Yeah, she just suddenly decided to end it all, and that was it. And I was like, oh. Okay. And obviously it was at the start of the Transcendence Championship as well. So obviously I was focusing on that, trying to keep my mind off of it. But yeah, admittedly I was a little bit kind of like shocked, really, because it was just kind of like, it just came so sudden. And yeah, and next thing you know, she was with somebody else within a week. So I was like, oh, well, that just kind of showed how genuine that one was. So I was a little bit kind of like, I didn't really know how to feel about it, because obviously it was actually my first relationship I had since high school, which was 8 years ago. um, and yeah, unfortunately, turns out it wasn't meant to be, and she wasn't as genuine as I thought she was. Um, so yeah, that absolutely sucked, and obviously, yeah, that did set me back a little bit, because, well, it's just an upsetting nature, isn't it? Especially when you feel like, oh yeah, I'm happy now, and obviously everyone was having a laugh, everything seems well, and then next thing you know, oh. uh, so, you know, there was no arguments being had or anything like that. It was just casual. It was just like a casual friendship, but a little bit more romantic, really. Which is just kind of my nature. I don't like going in full guns blazing, because, well, for me, slow and steady wins the race. Maybe not in Wipeout terms, because obviously I was playing Wipeout at the time when the championship was happening, and obviously it's faster the better. But obviously, yeah, I'm getting backtracked. But you get the idea. It was a pretty depressing time for me, enough as it was. Obviously, over time, I continued to participate in the championship. Obviously, trying to forget what had happened and stuff like that. Obviously, Iwito very kindly helped me, let me help him with the run reviews and stuff. Obviously, and help him out with the tournament and with approving things. So she obviously kept me busy, so that was always fun. And obviously, everything was so well organised, so it's generally it was a good bit of help for me, and it definitely kept me occupied for the how long was it? 3 or 4 months that it lasted. I can't remember when it actually ended. Actually, I think it was April. Yeah, I think it was April that it ended. But alas, it kept me occupied, and yeah. Unfortunately, though, throughout the tournament, quite a few things happened in my life that just kept traumatizing me. I had flashbacking happening all the time. I was under a lot of stress trying to keep the run reviews and stuff as good as I possibly can, especially for the tournament, especially when the whole world was watching and everything happening, and obviously my reputation was on the line, and obviously not only that, but obviously demonstrating skills to the world. Not only to mention that as well, I had a lot of different challenges in terms of my mental health outside of the tournament, and obviously outside in real life when I'm trying to find new places to work and basically I'm trying to do too many things at once. And yeah, it did negatively impact me and my mental health, and also my mental state, because I was under too much pressure by my family. I was under too much pressure by all sorts of different people, and you know what, I just didn't feel like I was doing a good job anywhere, to the point, because my mood was so like all over the place, I lost friendships because I couldn't feel like I could be friends with people. I was getting infuriated with some of my family members because they were mistreating other family members. Like, for example, I had my uncle completely taking advantage of my own mother, which obviously that's not exactly something I like to see, because obviously, you know, my two closest relatives, I'm obviously going to defend them with my life, because, you know, they're my closest relatives. Even though sometimes I feel like my father's not always there for me, and, you know, exactly as I say, I spend 20 hours there on my own. The fact of the matter is, I still try my best to get up and get on with it. And, you know, but so many things just started going constantly wrong, and nothing was going in my favour. I was losing money. I was spending too much money on the wrong things. I had no one to basically lean on, and I still don't really have anybody to lean on. And really talk about it, other than now I've decided to obviously try and take the YouTube approach, which is obviously why you're seeing this video, just to see if, well, just to kind of rest assure myself that I'm not the only one that's kind of like struggling with all this shit. And I'm not even done yet. From this point onwards, the pressure got like so intense for me that a couple of days after my birthday, I kind of took a bit of a drastic approach, because there was so much that was on my plate. I basically got to the point where I could not take any more of the OCD that I was struggling with on a day-to-day basis. I kind of felt like the whole world was going up against me and stuff, which I like to believe that's not true. But sometimes the way I view things and the way things are perceived to me, it's like maybe people are against me for whatever reason. I kind of took a bit of a drastic measure, and trigger warning for those sensitive to drug talk. I performed a overdose twice within a month. Yeah, I attempted to actually take my own life for the first time last year, and I did it twice. The first time I took a very high lethal dose of codamol. I think it was like 14 grams that I took or something like that. It was considered lethal for my weight because my weight is extremely low, and the reason for that is because I'm constantly trying to starve myself, which yes, that is also a thing. I have been trying to starve myself to death, and I still am trying to do that today. However, it's kind of like, that's kind of proving a bit difficult, but yes. And then on the second overdose, I tried paracetamol, in which I took, I think it was 26 tablets. I don't know exactly how many it was, but I landed in the hospital for a second time. But I haven't tried to do anything like that ever since. And when that happened, obviously it was a mistake in itself, because my antidepressant medication I've been on obviously was taken off of me, or no, actually no, it wasn't taken off of me, it was significantly reduced, so I couldn't overdose myself, even though I wasn't overdosing on the antidepressant medication, because that was actually, well, helping me. So therefore I'm obviously never going to overdose on it. I'm going to try and maintain it at the dose that it was helping me at. But unfortunately, you know what risks are like with the NHS. As soon as they sense something as a risk, they stop it entirely. But alas, I mean, they're not wrong for doing that. And obviously, because obviously the medication was taken away from me, it still triggered a lot of things in my head, which I couldn't actually control at this moment in time. Because obviously, well, with the medication not helping my panic attacks, not helping my emotions whatsoever, obviously, when you start getting withdrawal symptoms and stuff like that happening, it just makes things 10 times worse. And, you know, this is to the point where I really then began going quiet, especially like towards the end of last year. Like I started going quieter and quieter. I didn't want to be involved with people because I just didn't want to show my face. And obviously from this point onwards, that's when OCD started getting more and more out of control, to the point where then, like I say, I was then on intensive care coordination, which is still happening today. And then coming up to the end of the year, I then finally get the diagnosis. They finally tell me what's wrong. They, after all the help, all the care coordination appointments, all the health tracking, all of the shit that they had to put me through. I'm actually surprised I didn't actually get sectioned under the Mental Health Act. But I think I wasn't far away. I have to admit, I don't think I was far away. Yeah, I finally got told that I was diagnosed officially with PTSD, OCD, and EUPD. I actually didn't know what EUPD was, but after a little bit of research and obviously some explanation from the psychiatrist, I was then told, well, it's a pathway or a branch off from borderline personality disorder. Obviously, when I got told it, no one likes to be told what's wrong with them, but it was an answer, to say the least. It was something that I can work with from now on. And to be fair, it doesn't feel any better knowing that I've got it, but at least I knew my hunch at, like, especially when I had the issue with London. Once I found out what it was actually genuinely OCD and my theory was confirmed, it put me at ease knowing that at least I know what it is. And yeah, but like I say, nobody ever likes being told what's wrong with them, especially me. And you know what, to be honest with you, ever since I have been told kind of like what I've been diagnosed with, I've kind of not exactly felt like I have had anybody to turn to about it. Um, I've kind of just been bottling it up to myself. I've been kind of not wanting to attend Wipeout events, even create Wipeout events, but because I'm not exactly a selfish person, I'm actually completely selfless. I don't actually care about myself whatsoever, and that's the honest truth. I really do not care about myself whatsoever. I put others first. I figured I carried on creating Wipeout events, obviously, as you've seen on this channel in the past, if you are a regular viewer. And if not, basically, me and my friend Cameron, we organise little themed events based off of the original Wipeout, or the retro Wipeout games from the PS1 and PS2 era. And they've been relatively a success in the community, which is good. But to be honest with you, to sit here and face them all the time and talk to them all the time, knowing obviously I could be being judged at any given point for any mental health condition that I've got, and obviously judging by the fact that my brain doesn't exactly work properly and I get my words muddled up all the damn time, you know, it's fucking scary sat there and just trying to communicate with people. It fucking scares the shit out of me. And sometimes I do kind of wish that I don't do these events, just in the fear that I'm going to say something wrong. And, you know, because obviously I can't exactly speak correctly. And it does wind me up when I can't get my words out correctly. And, yeah, it bothers me to a whole new extreme. I couldn't tell you. Words couldn't describe how much it fucking bothers me, because believe me, I've had nights where I contemplate taking my own life because of things that I've not been able to explain, say, or do, or anything like that, or feel like just to end any form of pain when it comes to constantly checking things, constantly obsessing over things. Believe me, it is volatile as fuck, and I can't explain any further in words just how awful it makes me feel. And obviously, because obviously my emotions are always all over the place, I've obviously made some irrational decisions. Obviously, one of which includes I spend a lot of time now gambling, which, while for me it is a fun activity, for me at times it has been a little bit reckless. Obviously, I can financially afford to do it because obviously I now work for Uber Eats, and honestly, that's like quite possibly the only positive thing that has happened to me in the last 6 months. And I'll tell you what, it's been a blessing in disguise knowing that at least with Uber, I've been given the opportunity to kind of like settle down, be my own boss, not have any people to speak up to other than the tax man every single obviously year when it comes to it. And you know, the fact that it's so simple, I can get paid a lot for it and continue to financially support not only my friends but also myself and my family. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I'll tell you what, I do thank Uber for that, because you know, doing Uber for me and going for the diamond driver every month, it gives me something to work towards. And obviously, while yes, everything happens with OCD while I'm on the job, I try and manage it to the best of my ability. And yeah, it does work, because obviously when I've got an objective, which obviously with Uber Eats, delivering food and doing it as quickly as possible and doing it in true Ben fashion, as as I like to do, obviously it's resulted in me getting obviously 100% on satisfaction. It's resulted in me getting diamond status and everything like that. And it's something that I'm generally proud of, and I'm not going to be trading this job for the world. And the fact of the matter is, I don't have to worry about like any HR, any like boss to speak up to, in terms of obviously if my behaviour used to change for whatever reason, if it's something that I can't control, if I can't go to work, for example. The fact of the matter is, it's all in my control, and it pays the bills every month. And you know what, I couldn't have asked for a better position in that scenario. But the fact of the matter is, even though I'm obviously earning money and stuff, which obviously at my age, I'm 23 years old, I should be doing. I should not really. I should really not be spending it on gambling. And the fact of the matter is, the fact that obviously I gamble as much as I do. Obviously, I don't go to the point of danger, but the fact of the matter is, I'm going way too much in the sense that I'm trying to kind of go for a social setting, which, to be honest with you, it's been quite expensive. And you know, when I'm also doing super chats to people on YouTube, like AG Racing Central, not only do I do it to support him, but I just feel like as well, it sounds really messed up, but I feel like I'd be hated if I didn't do that. I know that is probably the most untrue thing ever, but that's just generally how I feel. If I feel like I'm not a good person to people, and I try my best to go out of way to not go out of my way, I feel like I'm a cancer to society, and I know I should always really put myself first, but I just don't do that. And I know I should, but I just don't. And to be honest with you, I don't know why. I really don't know why. But you know what? I do get a gag out of doing it. And you know what? I'm glad that obviously I can make some people's day, if anyone's. Which, to be honest with you, I probably highly doubt I do. But you know, but alas, all I can say is I do my best to try and get by each day. Yes, I fail miserably every day, and unfortunately, yes, I am still alive. I don't know how long for, and I'm kind of being serious when I say that. But like I said, I'll continue to try and obviously get my mental state back in order. I don't know how long that will take, but so far, it's taken me to the best part of nearly 2 years almost to even get to the position I'm in now. So obviously that's obviously getting diagnosed with OCD, EUPD and PTSD, and also actually getting a job with Uber Eats. It's taken me 2.5 years just to get to this point, but everything else for me, the fact that I spend as long as I do on my own, it's heartbreaking for me personally, and I fucking hate it. And you know, at least when I'm trying to go out and do any form of social setting, even though I don't really have anybody to turn to, especially local, yeah, I'm not exactly in the most best position. So yeah, and I'm sure there's quite a few people out there who relate to this quite a fair bit, and if you do relate to it, my heart goes out to you, because quite seriously, like, it just means that we're not on our own going through the shit that we have to go through. And you know, sometimes I do wish half the stuff didn't happen, but unfortunately life goes on and there's nothing we can do about it. The way I look at it now is just whatever happens in the future happens in the future. I'm going to try and continue to be present in, say, wipeout events and stuff like that, even though it is getting progressively more difficult, because as of recent, I've actually been told that I'm being looked into for schizophrenia as well, for delusions and stuff, because sometimes I will admit it, I am delusional at times when it comes to believing that my friends are betraying me. I feel as if that my friends are not there for me and my friends are not real, and I believe that things are happening behind my back when they're not. It's just, it's fucking, I couldn't tell you everything that's on my mind off the back of my head, because it just happens so differently every single day. But to say the least, everything's happened at least once. So, you know. But alas, for those who are interested in seeing my current position and wondering, well, what it's actually like to live with OCD, EUPD, and PTSD, this is kind of a scenario and a possibility of what can happen and how much it can really, really fuck your mind up. Especially if you had things that you cared about, people that you cared about, and, you know, it's just, it hurts, man. It hurts. But yeah, like I said, this video was never ever going to see the light of day, but I decided to put it up just because, well, speaking openly about it, maybe somebody out there has some advice for me, somebody out there, you know, somebody out there understands. I know people do understand, obviously, and I'm grateful to everybody who does, and obviously put up with my shit, because, you know, I definitely don't do anything deliberately, and I want to put it out there. Like, I definitely don't do anything to deliberately harm people, but sometimes I feel like I generally get depressed when it happens, and you know what? It all plays a part of how my emotions work, and I think it also comes into autism as well, which I've been diagnosed since I was 4 years old, which was 19 years ago, and I never really had the best upbringing. I never really had like the best places to go. I never really had many friends to talk to. I never had many people to lay on. You know, it's been a tough life, but obviously I'm still young. So yeah, at this moment onwards, it's just onwards and upwards. Whatever happens, happens. And yeah, that's about it, really. If you watched this entire video, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening. Obviously, I hope you can relate with a little bit. And like I said, I'm not doing this for any sympathy. I'm just here to bring a little bit more awareness to, obviously, for those who are A, worried for whatever reason, and B, just to bring awareness to the situation of what it's actually like being OCD and EUPD. Because, like I said, I didn't even know EUPD existed until I was told by the psychiatrist, and then I later found out it was part of the BPD, or borderline personality disorder, as a branch off, which is actually pretty cool. So the fact of the matter is, I got an answer. What else do I need? I mean, you know, other than I just want my emotions to come back. I want to kind of be happy again. I kind of just want to be me without feeling like my OCD or any of my emotions are going to get in the way. Yeah. But yeah, that's about it. I really appreciate you guys for coming out. Thank you for watching. And yeah, my next demo video will be coming out on Friday. Obviously, it'll be Station Magazine again. I'm also looking into getting some more stuff coming in as well when it comes to obviously demo videos and stuff. I should also have some other pieces of content coming out soon. I actually am looking into doing some new things. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good one.